through this little hoop here. Now, we don't expect you necessarily to use this little piece of A4 paper that's inside your guide. I would really like to see this on a big flip chart back at your office, planning for real, all scribbled on. Yeah, well, having an office would be nice. Yes. Maybe a tent with a flip chart in it, perhaps. Okay, I'm jumping to assumptions here. I'm assuming you've got an office with a wall and a piece of flip chart.
It's got walls on doors.
Okay, you have it on your bedroom wall there. Yeah, so basically I'm talking about planning for real on the flip chart. You know, this is a tidy version of it, but the messier and the more real it is for you, the better. So that's the sort of stick and carrot approach. I'll just mention a little bit about the other workshops, because that's really going to be down to Keith and the centre to decide what, and to you, to decide what to do. We've talked about a technology fair, which will help you when you're making your technology decisions around the middle of the 10 steps. We're hoping to get in some guest speakers of people who've done it before and who say to you, yes, you know, I did this, it was useful, I struggled a bit around here, but then I decided to take it forward in this way. We're going to be signposting you to all sorts of specialist support and also giving you that all-important funding advice. Now, I write funding bids as well, and I've been doing it for about 15 years now, and as Tony mentioned, you know, 15 years ago, if somebody asked you for an equal opportunities policy, that was a nuisance because often you didn't have one. You should have had one, but you didn't, so you wrote it especially for the bid, and then you got it in by Friday. Increasingly, it's, can you include your annual report? Can you include your business plan with this bid? And you can't just rush up a business plan between now and Friday. So you've got to have one, and we found that, I think, as a sector. And as Tony's pointed out, increasingly people are going to say, if you're asking for technology in this bid, can I see your technology plan, please? And that's going to be another thing. You can't just run off between now and Friday. You've got to have something that you can present. And what this process is going to be giving you is giving you at least some frameworks and charts where you can gather information, just copy and paste a word table into a funding bid and say, this is how we arrived at what I'm asking you for. This is how we arrived at the decision. And you'll be able to show to them that it links directly back to your mission and your goals. And after coffee, we're going to look at mission and goals. And the funder is not going to refuse to fund technology if you can show a direct link back to your mission and your goals and what you're here to do. Because often funders will see technology as something nice to have that you don't really need. Whereas we know that for the efficiency, we need to have the right technology, and we need somebody to invest in that, because we're not going to go down to PC World with our checkbook and just buy one ourselves. So I mentioned the carrot and the stick. These are some national offers that we've already negotiated. The Charity Technology Trust will award any NetGain member who can show through their planning that they need it. They will award you Cisco equipment at 8% of retail price if you've completed this little chart and shown that you actually need something that Cisco supply. You may not need what Cisco supply. They supply routers and networks and stuff like that. But if you can show that you need something like that in your planning, they will give it to you at 8% of the retail price with support as well. Now that's not to be sniffed at. And that's just the first thing we've managed to negotiate. We've got lots of other people interested in helping NetGain delegates because they know that you're going through the planning and they know that you're not just going to say, oh, can I have 10 of those please, and put them in the cupboard because they're nice to have, and not actually get them out and use them properly. So they're very interested in helping NetGain delegates. Also discounts on events and publications, particularly courses run by the ICT Hub, with whom we're working very closely, and who are doing a lot to try and convert funders to the idea they got to fund the ICT. And from the centre, these are just some examples. I don't know whether you wanted to come and say a few words here, Keith, or whether Tony would like to.
I think they were going to say the words of the slide 46.
Okay, at the end. What we're doing nationally, we've said to centres, they're all over the country, there are going to be 50 of them. We'll give you this, which is the NetGain process, as a kind of social franchise really. We'll give you that. What can you do in your centre? What do you do already to help the voluntary sector around you? And so here you can help frame the kind of support you would like. I've mentioned the first things there, but down here, the member benefits. Perhaps you feel that discounted training or free training that's offered, for example, in the UK Online Centre here would be helpful to you. And if so, we can build that into the membership. Perhaps you'd like discounted access so that you can come and use machines here before you actually buy one yourself to see different sorts of software, for example, or to experience broadband, or to try out various different applications before you actually make the choice to buy them for yourself. Perhaps this centre offers all sorts of advice or guidance or diagnostics that your staff might need in order to identify what training they need to take themselves forward. And this is a very popular one with a lot of interest. Everybody really struggles with this system support thing. Not only the voluntary sector, but small businesses as well. And we've had a lot of ideas coming out of NetGain centres that, hang on a minute, we don't do this yet ourselves, but if everybody was going to buy into it, if we had 100 people going through the centre in a year and they've all said, technical support, number one thing, yes, we will contribute 50, £100 a year, I don't know how much it would be, to have a person on call, and you mentioned this, Debbie, a person on call who I've bought into and I know, like an insurance policy, will come round and help me because I've made a contribution. And I can't afford that person myself, but if a lot of people were buying into that, maybe that would be affordable to everybody and everybody could use it. So that sort of technical support club idea, which would be put together locally and helped by your centre, is something there's been a lot of interest in.
I think we'll return to that later on this afternoon, because there are some activities already going on in Berkshire around that issue as well.
Yeah, there's ideas of circuit riders, there's all sorts of ideas, and the big thing is how to fund it, and how to make it sustainable, and how to keep it going, how to make it what you need. And so those are all things that need ironing out, and the planning will help us to do that. Okay. Here are some of the things that people said when we went through the pilot, which was 18 months ago now, before we put in the bid to the Home Office. Basically, it's difficult taking time out from work, but people found that when they did take the time out, it actually helped them a lot. These are real things people said. They really did find out gaps in how they were doing things, and some of them it scared, but some of them realised that it was good to have identified that elephant trap before they fell into it. Taking the time out to focus on ICT, even if it's not your day job, was important. Defining what skills you needed and how to fit them into what your needs were, and the old perennial funding question, and being able to make a case better. All of those things came out. Right, I think I've rattled you through those bits a bit, but I've tried to catch us up so we can have some coffee. Should we have some time?
I think we need coffee now.
Any questions before we break for coffee?